Hey guys, welcome to the Player 3 podcast,
where we discuss our favorite topics.
From video games to philosophy.
where we argue over what's good and bad.
Degrade and rank each other.
And have a great time with friends. Enjoy!
Alright, we ready to talk about some Sony rejects?
Oh yeah,
No.
the whole franchise. Let's go.
yeah, we're here. We're going to discuss mine and one of Dylan's favorite franchises, one of mine.
Probably for me.
Yeah, it's
For me,
one
it's
of my
the
favorite
favorite.
franchises. We're talking about Crash Bandicoot today. We got a few plot points here we're going to go through and discuss. Ryan has the least experience with the franchise, but he has some now, which we will dive into. So for starting the discussion, let's just talk about what our favorite game is, I guess. Dylan, I'm curious as to what you're thinking.
I'm actually more curious to hear what Ryan's thinking.
My favorite game is Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy.
Okay, that's
Now,
fair.
for context, I've only played the remake of one in Insane Trilogy, and I'm only about 30% done. But I've been playing the levels very thoroughly, and I've platinumed every time trial so far.
so we have
Yeah.
a completionist on our hands as well.
Yeah, I
have a-
devour games when I play them.
We have a
Which is-
very big completionist.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
And I can respect that.
Mhm.
Although there are going to be okay, here, let me answer the question first before I start taking you on your own journey through Crash 2 and 3. So for a very long time, and by the way, it's also important to note, we are talking about Crash 1, 2, 3, whether Insane Trilogy or original,
Mhm.
plus Crash 4, It's About Time. We are not talking about Twin Sanity and
The others.
Crash of the Titans. Yeah, no.
2000 abortions of games.
They're from
The
2000
original 4.
from 2001 to like 2008
Mhm.
was just
I thought it was 2010.
was it 2010?
It could be.
Oh,
Let me do a deep dive
There
on
you go.
that.
Just terrible. It might even
Yeah,
be
it
like
was.
2012.
And then it died until like 2016, right?
It was just hibernating.
It was
So-
actually okay. So it was actually until 2008 with Mind Over
Okay.
Mutant being the last game before
Okay.
its sabbatical.
So you had the trilogy of Twin Sanity, Crash of the Titans, and Mind Over Mutant.
Yeah.
You had those three, and they were terrible.
You also
They
had
had some-
Wrath of Cortex, which was also
And
dog
Wrath
shit.
of Cortex was terrible. Okay, so what we're talking about when we're talking about favorite, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, and then now 4 that just came out.
Yeah.
So I've beaten all of them. 4 I've only beaten once. The first 3 I've beaten realistically 30 times over each.
That's fair.
And for a very long time, my answer was 3, 3, 3. And I think part of it was because of the nostalgia. That was the first
Right.
one I ever played. That was the thing I owned when I was a little kid. I had the little PlayStation 1 disc, in
Yeah.
the CD looking cover, the case,
Mhm.
So for a long time, that was my answer. But as I start to mature, and I begin to realize that's the wrong answer.
I
It's
think I
not
know
the
where you're
best
going
one,
with
and
this.
it's not my favorite.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Number 2 is the best one,
Yeah.
and it is my favorite. And it kind of kills me to say that on the record because here's what I think is going to be true. I think that number 3 for a very long time, probably till the end of time, I'll have a soft spot in my heart for.
Mhm.
But when you get down to it, and we can get into it, when you get down to it, number 2 is a little more balanced in its levels, and
Yeah.
it is much more. It's not like out of reason with how many vehicle levels we have and tiger levels and underwater levels we have,
Yeah.
which are all cool things in Crash Warped. But number 2 comes down to it. It's just so much more cleaner, and the
Mhm.
movement's better, and not everything's over the top with crazy attachments,
Yeah.
crazy unlocks with your fast
Mhm.
shoes and your bazookas and all this.
We should probably go into more detail about what they did in Warped, I suppose.
All right, yeah,
First
go
I'll
ahead.
say, yeah, to do, I guess beforehand, I'll answer the question of what my favorite game would be. I actually didn't complete Crash 2 as of yet. I think I'm like a little less than halfway through the game. I've been enjoying it. I think I was stuck at one point. That's why I stopped. I don't know. But anyways, so I guess my favorite would probably be 3 just because of like how well I know it and how well like I can go through it and play it.
Yes.
So it's not really like a matter of what I don't like, it's a matter of what I can accomplish and what I can enjoy doing. Like I remember like 4 or 5 years ago we played original Crash 3 and we like recorded it for like what was it like 2 hours or so and we just completed it from like
beat in like 2 hours.
yeah, we just got all the crystals and won them beat the game real quick. It was a fun time. It was really good.
Yeah.
And it obviously has a lot of nostalgia for me. But anyways, let's dive into the differences. So Crash 1 is very linear. Basically, your movement's very fixed.
North and south and east and west.
You can jump and you can spin and
you
obviously
can control the height of the jump.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't control.
In Crash 2 and 3, you can double jump, or at least you'll eventually unlock the ability to double jump in 3, I think. I think in 2 you start out with double jump. You also
or backwards. 3 you get the ability to double jump. 2 you start out with it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's
I
what I
thought.
said.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, and then you can also slide and crawl, which you might be thinking, well, what's the point in that? It's for dodging attacks, and you can also kill enemies with the slide. And if you slide at just the right time, it will increase your jump height. On top of obviously double jumping. That's pretty much what's in 2 and 3. And in 3 alone, you also eventually get the ability to body slam. Like I don't fucking understand the difference between the body slam you unlock and the body slam you start with.
And super slam.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the height is a little different, but that's it. Yeah. Also, I think you also have that in 2 as well. My bad. In 3, you also get the ability to have, I guess, speedy shoes or whatever, make getting relics a whole lot easier. You also get
double spin.
You also get the double spin, where it makes it easier to hover to faraway places, and then you also get the fruit bazooka, which makes pacifists very happy, like myself.
Yeah, that is where you and I differ strongly in our play style.
Yeah.
I'm all about guns blazing going forward.
Yeah,
you
that's fair.
Sit back, destroy every enemy with the bazooka, and then continue.
And you could also like hit boxes that are out of reach with it.
There are parts of it that make perfect sense why it's in there, like out of range boxes and having to look for places for that. But I don't like that.
I think that might be the last thing where it's like when you're playing as Crash specifically or Coco specifically, that's like something different that's in Crash 3, but not in anything else. But other things that are different in Crash 3 are the levels themselves are different. What I mean by that is like there are a lot of, and Dylan already alluded to this, there are a lot of gimmicks in 3 as compared to 2 and 1. 2 and 1, you mostly always play as Crash and go from point A to point B with a bonus level somewhere in the middle of that level. In Crash 3, you'll have different levels differing in what you do. You have a racing level where you're like, I think you start at like 9th place. Literally, if fucking everyone gets a head start and you're on a motorcycle and you try to like win the race. I mean, it's fun, but it's like, come on, that's not Crash.
Right.
If I want to race, I'll play CTR.
Yeah.
Or Mario Kart. But yeah.
Mario Kart.
Okay. And then Trying to think what else. There's also the
Well, you have a bunch of
also-
underwater missions.
yeah, you have the underwater, which I'm sure Ryan already knows well enough that underwater levels are dog shit.
They're pretty bad.
They're bad.
And they're only bad.
They're better than Atlantica and KH1, but I would say worse than KH2 Atlantica.
So
fair.
the way I feel about the water levels is here's my problem with them is like, so there's gonna be items that you need to say get all the boxes or to destroy objects in your way. Well, the problem is if you lose this item, it's like a jet ski like underwater thing with torpedoes in the front. Okay, well, if you are
Mario?
if you in not in Mario, this would be in Crash.
No, I'm wondering, like, though, in Mario, like, say you get the Fire Flower, once you get hit, you go into Super Mario instead of, like, Fire Flower Mario? Is it kind of like that?
You completely
Yeah,
lose
kind
this,
of.
yeah,
Yeah, you
lose this
completely
item
lose.
completely, and say
You-
there's like a coral reef in the way, you cannot destroy it with anything else besides that. You have to go
Yeah.
back and find a way to kill yourself there.
Yeah,
to
it
get it
works. It works similar to that, but like, yeah, once you lose it, you cannot get any item that is needed. Like, if it's blocked by a coral reef, if a box is, then
Mhm.
and you lose that torpedo gun thing, jet ski thing underwater, then you can't get that box. And that especially sucks if you're going for the all boxes gem.
Well, and if you're
Yeah.
going for a time trial too, and you need to
Yeah.
make your way through there,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
because it
you
definitely
shoot
makes.
a torpedo, it hits one of those bombs that are chained to the floor,
Yeah,
and then it's like, what am I supposed to? Now you have to go back and restart the whole
Yeah.
thing.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, there is two other gimmicks I can think of actually. So unless you have something else you want to say about the underwater levels,
Well, I was just gonna say in Crash 2, there is the 1 or 2 jetpack levels at the very end of the game.
I've seen gameplay of that.
Yeah, and that's really the only thing that is wonky with that, because in both 2 and 3 you have the tiger levels, or the panda
Oh, I
levels.
didn't even think of that one.
Yeah,
The
where you're
tiger one.
riding. Yeah, you're riding the tiger. You're riding the panda
One
bear.
level in episode or in game 1 too, which is the same
Yes,
thing. I think.
there is. Right. And that
Yeah.
level is very very short.
But there are two others that I can think of that actually you didn't mention yet, Dylan. The dinosaur levels when you're on the baby dinosaur thing.
Yeah.
That's eh. I mean,
But
it
the
doesn't.
airplanes.
It's pretty. Oh yeah, the airplanes. That's true.
The airplanes.
When you gotta shoot down the blimps or the other
And
airplanes.
yeah, and 3 airplanes. Like, see,
And then
that's what I'm saying.
there's also the beloved jet ski levels with
Oh
Coco.
my! See, the more you remind me, the more I'm just doubling down on my answer for number 2, because, and here's the thing, like you said, like number 3 is all about the nostalgia. That's what I grew up playing. I could play that game in my sleep. We spent like an hour on one level trying to get like platinum and get close to the world record for the
we were trying to go for the time trial platinum.
Yeah, and eventually we got, but like that was so automatic in my hand. That was like such muscle memory at that point that everything was so easy. But
and the sad thing is, I'm sure if we actually went back and tried it again, we would be able to get it within like a half hour.
Oh, like it'd take us much less time.
Yeah, we would be. It would still be muscle memory for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is odd.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing to me is they literally made Wrath of Cortex and they made it worse than Crash 3 Warped, even with all those vehicles. They doubled down on the vehicles and on the gimmicks, and their gimmicks and vehicle levels absolutely sucked. Except for that ball level. That ball level is fun.
Yeah.
But besides that, they're all just awful.
So Ryan, your favorite is by default the 30% of number 1 you've played so far.
Yeah.
I'll have to rock with 2, and John, you'll have to rock with 3.
Yeah, that seems fair. I'm sure, Ryan, your opinion is going to change once you play 2 and 3.
You guys are actually scaring me.
No.
Because my opinion is, in regards to platformers are best when they're platformers.
No, we don't derail
enjoy 3
until about like 65% way through number 3 does it start to get derailed a little bit. Number
Mhm.
two, you're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, you'll
We're
have fun
making
with
it
I
sound
can
worse. We're making it sound worse than it is because it really is like a small sliver of the game,
Yeah.
really, when it comes. But it's like really just like frustrating that
Yeah.
Mhm. It's
it
way
happens over
more
and over.
noticeable in
Yeah.
3 than it is in 2.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I don't know. I'm actually really excited for 2. The double jump sounds like
The double
I
jump
don't
is
know.
gonna be a lifesaver.
It
It's
It
it
gonna be a
is.
feels
whole
it
new.
playing 1. It feels like something that should be there.
Yes.
Right. Agree. So what do you like so far from 1, from what you've played?
Um. So actually, that kind of gets into kind of subtopics I wanted to talk about, and the one I want to start with is design philosophy. Every game has like a central idea that they build it around, and as someone who has kind of been skeptical of Crash from afar for my entire life up until this year, and that's putting it kindly.
Fair
Yes.
enough, I guess.
I wasn't expecting much, but actually when I like got the controller in my hand and started playing it, I really did appreciate just the simplicity of here's a linear level, here are boxes, some of them are hidden, some of them are tricky, but like in some of them you can only even attempt once without dying.
Yes.
Go for them. And it's
Yes.
like, okay, I kind of like that. That's fun. Some of them are
Yeah.
really hard to get, some levels are really easy.
Yeah.
And I really like that. It's not like that. So it to contrast it, I already like Sonic or Crash way better than Sonic because Sonic's design philosophy is let's let the player go fast, but let's also punish them for going fast by throwing spikes right in the path.
Yeah.
So I think it is a way better considered game. Um, and so that's how I wanted to open my thoughts with it. Now, where I don't feel great is the actual design itself. And so I've heard Insane Trilogy is very faithful to the originals. Is that your
Pretty
guys'
much.
opinion too?
Almost to a fault, you
I
could say.
think they
I
the
would
only
say
thing
to a
they
fault.
I
Yeah.
think the only things they did differently is they added a new level in 3
hmm Which is a.
beside, and
But here's the thing.
they
Those
also
are levels.
re-added a previously deleted
They're
level
both.
from
They were
1.
both. They were both previously deleted,
Scrapped.
scrapped ideas.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't
That
know
both
they were
got.
both.
Yeah.
I thought
Numbers.
just
The one in Warped was also scrapped
I
that they
didn't know
brought
that.
back.
But
Yes,
the
but
the
Stormy
engine
Ascent is also.
the
Well, go ahead.
engine itself is very
It's very
faithful.
similar. If you were to
Yes, it
pick up a
is.
PlayStation 1, it would feel almost the same.
The
The
only
Okay.
like it's
difference
just a
being the
little more
graphics.
fluid. It's just a little
Okay.
more fluid in
Yes, it
Insane
is.
Trilogy. Now here, so let me ask you this, and I do want to hear you. But
Mhm.
if you notice in 1, the camera angles are a little wonky. So that was because what they wanted to do was maintain. So why
The
they did it on the,
polygon
they
limit,
did it
right?
on the yes. So why they did it on the PlayStation 1 was because you had a polygon limit. So what you would
Hmm.
do is you would fixate the camera to where you were looking at a weird image and hiding a bunch of stuff behind. And then as you say, there's a lot of up and down. So if you're going north and south, when you go up and over a hill, the camera will follow you down and up. It
Mhm.
doesn't want you looking over the hill because it's
Mhm.
trying to limit the amount of polygons. Now, could you get away with that on a PlayStation 4? Yes, but when you're trying to recreate a PlayStation 1 game, the camera
Mhm.
angles get a little weird sometimes because they're trying to mimic the fact that you had to hide the number of polygons that are at the screen at one time.
Yeah.
So that's
Mhm.
part of it that sometimes it might feel like why does it look like this right now? Because this feels really weird. But go ahead,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind
No,
of
and I appreciate you telling me that because that's really
yeah,
informative.
that's kind of how they
Um.
tried to pull off 3D back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it feels like an old game. I
hmm
am just gonna say that. Like it does not feel good. Sometimes like landing or enemy hitboxes don't feel good. Sometimes with the shield guys in particular, they just don't work sometimes. Like I'm definitely coming at them from like a way above and they just hold their shield vertical and I get bonked
yeah.
and sent flying in a direction where it's
Yes.
like I don't think that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Um so it feels like an old game. It feels imprecise. And then something that really bugs me in terms of game design, this bug boggles my mind is that there's actually the Z direction in the 2D levels. So
hmm
like
Yeah.
in the level where you scale and go up and down, there's
Yeah.
actually depth
You
to it.
can fall forward. You can
Yeah.
fall back towards yourself. Yeah.
Well, and also the fact that like in the direction of the camera, forward and backwards,
Yeah.
That does sound kind
that
of
can
stupid.
affect how you hit enemies into other enemies. And
Mhm.
during the time trials, that is absolute hell. It's
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
It is terrible. It is so frustrating. So
That does sound like it.
yeah, so I really don't understand. They did it to respect the original game, but it doesn't
Mhm.
feel good, and I
Mhm.
just have to dock it for that because
That's
it just
fair.
doesn't feel
So
good.
that criticism right there, there are things that could be fixed in all three that
Yeah.
Mhm.
are still dated
Yeah.
and feel dated, but they did not want to screw up so badly
Yeah.
that they just were like, Activision was like, okay, we're just gonna keep it how
Faithful.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vicarious Vision said, we'll keep it exactly how it is. We cannot possibly screw this up. Let's not try and fix something because
Mhm.
then people will say we tried to go in there and tinker with it, like people
Mhm.
have been for years and messing it up. So they said, well, okay, we can just live with the fact that some of this is going to feel a little goofy. But the
Mhm.
thing is, people that played the originals on PlayStation 1 or on a PS3 emulator or
Mhm.
on PS3 are going to say, okay, this is exactly what I expected because I remembered being able to, like, there's times like when you said like when you're scaling up left and right, I stop using the joystick. I go straight to the D-pad because I'm trying to stay in on one axis on the way up.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not.
I
I don't want
understand.
to bank on my joystick being a little bit too close to me or a little too far away to where no,
Yeah.
I'm. So I think yes, there's things that and that was a criticism of the Insane trilogy was like
Mhm.
there are these things that need to be fixed and they didn't just
Mhm.
in order to stay faithful, which I can
Yeah.
respect in a way,
Mhm.
but
And I
also
mean,
like some risk there.
when you look
Yeah.
at what they were trying to do with the Insane Trilogy, when you really think about it, it's like, okay, so they wanted to bring back these old fans and they wanted to test the waters to see if the fan base was still around, if people were still open to Crash games. They were testing the waters, seeing, okay, would people be interested in a new Crash game? And if they are, let's throw this remake at them. And if
Yeah,
they like it, we'll give them a new Crash game.
yeah,
And what did
Yeah.
we get? We got the CTR remake. We got It's About Time. We got the actual Crash 4, not the non-canon one. Basically, Ryan, all you need to know and the viewers about the original Crash 4, it was called Wrath of Cortex, came out like around
2005.
2001.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
like
You're right. No,
it came out on like
it was like
PlayStation.
2001, 2, or 3.
Yeah, it came out on like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2,
Xbox, original
GameCube, and
Xbox.
Xbox. And it was absolute dog shit.
It was a stinker. It was a
Yeah,
stinker.
so many gimmicks. They ran terribly. Loading times were awful.
Super lazy
Uh,
plot.
yeah, super lazy plot, and that's saying something for a Crash game.
I know.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Now, is there anything else we want to discuss before we get into Crash 4?
Uh,
I will add that the boulder levels, while iconic, I don't think are particularly good game design.
mm,
Yeah.
So when you're playing them, Crash feels like particularly slow because either in the boulder levels you know what you're doing and like you feel like you should be able to go faster, or like you don't know what hazards are ahead and it feels like it's too quick.
yeah.
Well,
Um,
here's the thing. I hope you like those kinds of levels because they're in Crash
there are
1,
a
2,
ton
and
of them.
3.
Yeah, and there's the dinosaur, I know, chase sequences
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like stuff that like I don't know, it's just so iconic that as
Well,
a non-Crash fan I know of it.
all right. So there are only 2 reasons those types of levels are in Crash 1. By the way,
Hmm.
there are only 2 reasons. I'm not kidding you.
Hit me with them.
Okay, so Naughty Dog, when developing,
Hmm.
they were like, here's the main reason. Okay,
Hmm.
they were like, we need something. There's too much of Crash moving away from the screen and moving left and right. People don't know what he looks like. So they had to come up with a way for him to come at you and look at the screen. So
Interesting.
that was the main reason because you had to see what Crash looked like from the front, what he was coming at you. Because nobody had
Right.
they test this game out. They're like, when do I without backtracking? Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, we have to make a way so Crash comes at you. And the other thing was They liked Indiana Jones. They liked the boulder
Yeah,
from Indiana Jones. That's literally
yeah,
it.
that's
That makes
fair.
sense.
That is literally the only two reasons.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it
And
creates an
but
interesting variety, but like,
it is, and I
I
understand what
don't
you're
know.
saying. Like from especially in Crash 1, like you feel like your character, you feel like Crash is here, and like the end of the world is like there's like no time to react. As soon as
Yeah.
you get to Crash 3 and
Hmm.
2, it is much more. You can see a much wider.
Yeah.
It
Field of
doesn't get
view.
Yeah.
so
Field
bad,
of view.
yes, and actually, it doesn't get so boring as to where I'm just going, left, right,
Hmm.
zigzagging.
Yeah.
There starts to add some cool stuff, especially in 2 about stuff that can get in your way, and then 3, if you got bored with it, 3's dinosaur chases and boulder sequences are much more difficult.
Yeah,
Well, and
yeah,
something
they are.
like I hate ragging on this game because I'm playing a game from whatever 2016, and I don't know how much I can actually knock it for because it's fundamentally what, a game from '96 or something,
96, yeah.
and so I can say it's bad game design, but good game design to achieve took a lot of experimentation, trial and error,
Yeah.
and like they were on the cutting edge of 3D platforming.
That was the cutting
So
edge in 96.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it
like it's
was.
like I don't know, if you go back and play Mario 64, it's really good generally, but there's some really wonky things about it. So what can I
Yeah,
Right.
actually criticize
Right.
it for?
Right.
So
yeah. And I
yeah,
mean, with this trilogy, it's not really them about trying to fix those problems. It's them trying to stay faithful, like Dylan said,
yeah,
to the original products that
And
were made in the
understandably
90s.
so.
yeah.
Understandably
I don't
so
think that's a bad
because
thing. That's
Yeah.
yeah,
that's a
because
whole
they had to have been scared out of their minds about screwing this up
yeah,
because
Hmm.
there were 6 games in between Warped and the remake that were just
not good.
terribles, stinkers.
Yeah,
Actually, 4 games, I think, unless you count
4.
a racing game. 4 games. There was Wrath of Cortex, Twin Sanity, Crash of Titans, and Mind Over Mutant.
There's a couple of stuff on handhelds too that was not very good, like the
Uh,
Crash Spyro
there's
crossover.
Nitro Kart, which is uh, an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Crash Tag Team Racing, which
Well,
is
there
good,
was
but like not great.
one game, John, that is also very near and dear to our hearts that was an
Party
attempt to
gaming.
compete with Mario Party.
So
It
here's the
really
thing,
was.
including the racing games. Well, let's discuss what our favorite party crash game is, Dylan. We
Which
have,
is wild that we can even say that. The
yeah.
fact
So
that these
here's the
things
thing.
exist.
Here's the thing. I'm assuming you've at least checked out Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, which
Yeah,
is the new
yeah,
one.
yes.
Um, I think you tried out Crash Team Tag Team Racing at my place
I
on
love
PS2.
no, dude, I loved it. I played tag team. I really
Yeah.
like tag team racing.
And then there's obviously Crash Bash, which I
And
think you were talking about before.
yes, so I will tell you that again, it's one of those things. So tag team racing, again, special place in my heart. Love it because I played it when I was 10.
Yeah, same here.
Couldn't understand it. Could barely beat it. Didn't know how to do it. If I played it now, I'd probably be okay with it. But
Hmm.
as a kid, I just remember like the bowling stuff, and like
Yeah.
running around the amusement park and stuff like that with all the bad guys from 1, 2, and 3. And I thought that was
Hmm.
really cool. But I gotta fall back on the foundation, man. Crash Bash is a weird game, but it is really enjoyable and it is fun
Here's
for how stupid it
yeah.
is.
I mean, here's my opinion towards Crash Bash. It's a lot tougher than it should be, but it's
Oh, it
really
is.
fun.
Yes.
And I mean,
Yes.
the main story itself is a lot
Yes.
tougher than it should be because,
Yes.
like, for most Crash games, for all normal main series Crash games, the way it works, minus Crash 1, Ryan, spoiler alert, the main way it works, besides in Crash 1 and I guess Crash 4, is you get different warp rooms which have like 5-ish levels in each
Mhm.
room. And I say 5-ish because I think Crash 2 might have
Crash
more.
No, Crash 2 has 5 each in a
Okay.
boss. But Crash
Yeah,
4
it
is like
has
sometimes 3, sometimes 6,
yeah.
sometimes 5.
Yeah, so it has 5 levels and then a boss at the end of after you beat those 5 levels, after you get the crystal. and then you just restart, or
Yeah.
I guess you restart the process with the next warp room. In Crash 1 and 4, by comparison, you have different worlds you go to within a linear setting
Yes.
with bosses sprinkled in between occasionally. And the reason I bring this up is because in Crash Bash, you get the warp room format, but the issue is to fight bosses, you need specific requirements to be met on top of just having the crystals from each level.
I
And
feel
each
like I
level-
remember seeing a lot of this whenever I would
Yeah.
come over your house as a kid.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it was wonky because the thing is, I don't know, you're supposed to get the crystals, obviously, and each level is a mini game in it of itself, similar to that of like Mario Party, I suppose.
Yeah.
Maybe a tiny bit more fleshed out. I don't know. And you know, the majority of them are fun and whatnot, but like if you need a fucking relic or a gem, if you need X amount, it gets really difficult really quickly.
Yeah. You're doing a lot of replaying.
Yeah, and a lot of doubling back to old warp rooms just to get that shit.
Yeah.
And I think it's really stupid.
Yeah.
But
But if you
I
want
think
to talk about like just strictly what makes it fun, like those mini games are fun.
yeah, they're a
Like,
really good
straight up,
time.
those are just fun.
And you don't really get the board game format that you get from Mario Party, but
No, but
there's
you
enough
get
there.
like,
There's enough there to have a good time with your friends.
but like you know what was nice about it was like Crash Bash gave you the opportunity to play as characters that you only saw
Yeah,
in 1, 2, and 3. That you couldn't play as Cortex, you couldn't play as Tiny Tiger, you couldn't play as Engine. Like
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I can play as Coco now. Of course, -3. But you're like, oh, I can play as Coco now. Like you have all these cool stuff that you can do. You have all these guys in one. This is like a nice. This is a nice way of bringing together a bunch of characters from Crash and
And
like
Immortalizing like kind of throwaway enemies or bosses. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, like-
you beat Ripperoo and he's done.
yeah,
Yeah.
like and now you're like, oh wow, so these guys like I have like it means more than just a boss level now. Like
Yeah.
it's cool. It's
And
cool to play
here's-
as Cortex.
Okay, so I do have a bit of a hot take in regards to Crash Bash, or I guess the characters. I think Crash Bandicoot as a series, as a franchise, has the second most notorious, I guess, characters in its, I guess, series, I guess, compared to any other video game. And obviously the first would probably be Mario. That's what I'm thinking.
I
mean-
think Sly would give it a run for its money.
I don't
Even though Sly is
know.
a smaller franchise, its characters are bigger in its series.
I don't know them though.
Yeah, and I don't know most Crash characters, and the only ones I do know are because of you specifically.
I mean,
So
like I said, hot take.
yeah, I think
Um,
that's up for debate. I do think they're like relatively central, but not so much. I mean, most of the time you're really just dealing with Sly.
But
Or,
here's the
not Sly,
thing.
Crash.
They have a racing game where you can literally play as all of the characters. And not only do they have a racing game, hang on, let me check. They have 4 racing games plus a few other party games that are dog shit. And I mean, also Crash Bash, but yes.
There's
Well,
that.
like, I still think that's a bold claim because, like, if you look at Final Fantasy, they have Dissidia and they have Final Fantasy racing games and apps and stuff where all the characters reappear. So I do think that is kind of a bold claim.
I don't know. I think Crash is a little more friendly to outside gamers than Final Fantasy is.
Oh,
I would-
100%.
Like
Oh,
Final Fantasy,
oh,
you got to devote
100.
you got
100%.
you got to
Well,
devote
okay.
hundreds of hours to play Final Fantasy. You got to devote like hundreds of hours to play the entirety of all Crash games.
You just said the most true thing in the world right there. That is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, well, all right. So, party games, they're weird and there's too many of them, correct?
For Crash?
Yes.
I was thinking there should be more, but like
I think there should be more good
They need to
ones.
Well, we'd all want that. But
There should
what
be
we
more
have,
good
the
ones.
library that we have, there's like two. There's like
There's 3 good ones in my
There's
opinion.
3
We got the
options.
new Crash Team
Yeah,
Racing that
new
came out
CTR.
like a
Yep.
year ago.
Okay.
We
New
got Crash
CTR.
Bash,
Yep. Agreed.
and then we got Crash Team Racing, which is
Yeah. Okay.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different
You're talking
than
about tag team, right?
yeah.
Tag
Did
team.
I say
Okay.
yeah?
You said
Crash
just team racing.
Oh yeah, I meant
So yeah.
Crash
So
Tag
CTR,
Team,
tag team racing, and
which are not the
Bash.
same because they are fundamentally different. Crash Tag Team, Ryan, is like what
Double
is it?
Dash.
Yeah, it's like Double Dash. Whereas CTR is a little more meticulous. It's more, you don't have that Double Dash format, and like there's way
It's
more
more raw.
focus. There's more focus on drifting than there is in Mario Kart.
It's a
Like,
whole
it's really cool.
Like it's like it's not just like from Mario Kart 8 where it's like, oh, it's a part of the game. Like the only like in CTR, it is the game.
Yeah,
There's
if you don't
there's
drift,
a drift meter. You have to be very precise in it, and you have to
Mhm.
angle correctly. It's a whole ass thing.
yeah, if
It's not
if
like
you
Mario
don't
Kart 8.
drift, if you don't drift and you don't drift right, you're probably not winning the race.
Like
Depending on
it is
difficulty,
the
and
game.
especially if you're especially if you're racing against human people, other
Well,
people.
I will say that is absolutely still the case. Like everything you described is the case in 200cc Mario Kart. How
Okay,
you drift
fair.
is
You don't
essential.
have,
Yeah, but it's
you don't
not
have
the
the
foundation
meter.
of the game,
You
right?
don't have the
But it's
meter
not the
in
foundation of the
Mario
game.
Kart.
The whole idea of the game is that meter.
It's not the
Yeah.
meter, but it is still the boost, which controlling your speed around corners is still, especially for some of the courses, like the
It's-
thing that makes or break. It's not the items at all.
Yeah, I
Fair.
mean, you can make that argument, but it's very, very important even on lower difficulties for
That's fair.
CTR. And not just like the new one, but the ones it's based off of, like the original
yeah.
CTR and I think Nitro Kart. So I don't know. I think there's definitely space for both Mario Kart and CTR and Tag Team Racing for that matter because of how unique they are, even though they're the same format of, okay, race 3 laps, and occasionally you'll have the option of getting a power-up to help you either propel forward quite a bit or stop your opponents from doing that
Mm-hmm.
and win
Well,
the
that's
race.
actually something I really
But,
too
like,
from
it's unique.
Mario Kart, and something that makes it different is the downhills where they have really long courses that have a start and a finish and they don't loop.
Isn't that like new to Mario Kart 8 or at least the
Yeah,
newer
it
ones?
is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But
All right then. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, I can't defend Mario Kart Tour. It's terrible.
I mean, it's supposed to be a children's toy. It's supposed to be no different
Yeah.
from Legos, basically.
Yeah, no. Yeah, fucking obvious
Oh, wait,
because
no.
people were fucking begging for a fucking Mario Kart on their phones. And by the time we finally got it, I'm just like, and thankfully, I think most Nintendo fans are like, well, what's the fucking point? I could just play Mario Kart 8 on my fucking Switch on the go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I like that sentiment because everyone's fucking believing it and no one's giving Mario Kart Tour the time of day unless they're fucking 10 years old and they can't afford a Nintendo Switch.
Mhm.
So I think now I want to make this point, and this is a good thing to transition to. So I find it funny, and this is and correct me on one half of this, but John, I think we'll agree this.
Okay.
The majority of Crash, if you're just talking about a population, the simple majority of it is terrible. It is not good. Most
fan
Crash
base?
games, most Crash games are not good, right?
I mean,
If you just talk about strictly numbers, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4 are good, and one we're saying, but we'll put it in there. So we
Yeah.
have 4.
It all also depends on if you count Insane Trilogy as new, if you count CTR remake as new.
And I won't.
Okay,
And I won't.
What about
So
tag
let's-
team
in that case, I
racing?
agree.
Okay.
What about Crash
Okay, 4.
Bash?
Yes. Okay. Bash. Okay, but let's talk about what's actually critically acclaimed. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Right.
and CTR for its time.
You mean Crash Tag Team Racing or the new one?
CTR,
Or
the original
CTR.
original,
Okay.
the original CTR, and I'll even give you Bash 6. Okay, there are endless numbers of handheld Crash games that are junk,
They are.
straight junk.
Shovelware.
We know of at least
They
4.
are shovelware.
There are at least 4 in the Ghost period that were
Let me
terrible.
see. But let me get a number.
But here's what's hilarious: even if it's just 51% of Crash games are terrible, why are we still so loyal to it when the majority of them stink?
It looks
and
like there's 3 of them from like that are spin-offs on the Game Boy Advanced.
So let me actually answer this. You know how like there's always like the negative emotion affects you more than like the good thing happening? I
Yeah.
think it's actually the opposite for video games. Bad games are relatively inoffensive, but a great game can like make your childhood.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And that's my answer. That's my answer because like I don't know, Kingdom Hearts 2 is the reason I'm so loyal to the whole franchise, and there's some doo-doo games in there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like 2 is one of my favorite games ever.
But
So
isn't it
And I
funny
mean,
how
I'd be
it's like-
remiss to say that trilogy is the reason I'm devoted to Crash. And I mean, I'll admit,
Right,
Crash
exactly.
4 is the reason I'm devoted to the series as well.
Exactly. But
But
it's like
there
think
are
about it.
some
The
garbage
majority-
fire
the
games
majority,
there.
The simple majority, 51% at least, terrible.
Yes.
Terrible. Literally terrible.
Because you got
And
all
we
those.
only ever talk about like 4 games.
You got those.
We are only talking
GBA
about
games
Bash right now. We are only talking about Crash Bash right now because we're talking about party games.
Yeah.
We would never say like name your favorite Crash games. We go 2, 3, 1. You would never say Bash. You would say 2, 4, 3, 1, and you'd stop right there.
Yeah.
now I have to ask, is this why someone put the note Star Wars fans and Crash?
Because
Because
exactly.
Star Wars is
Because
also
the majority of Star Wars is terrible. Isn't that
Yes.
hilarious? But everyone
Yes.
is like 5 and 6, 5 and 6, 5 and 6, 5 and 6, 5 and 6. It's like, all right, got it.
and 3
Some
and 3.
you
5,
also
6, and
get
3.
you also
Okay,
get the
so
3
5,
or the
6, and 3.
4. You also get the 4 sometimes.
It's like, yeah, but it's like, okay, but it's always 4 and 5 or 5 and 6. It's never 4 and 6 or like
Yeah.
you
5
always
is
gonna
always
get-
somewhere.
you're always gonna get 5, and then it's either 5 and 4 or 5 and 6, and then like 3, and then like maybe 7 if you're feeling generous. But that is not the majority of Star Wars. That's not the
fuck
majority of
7.
Star Wars.
Dude, fuck
That's what I'm saying.
episode
I
7.
like
I mean,
7, but it's like
yeah, we
I
don't want
like
to get
7, but it's, I'm not going on a
It-
tangent. I just think it's funny how the majority of Crash is terrible. Is literally
Yes.
terrible.
And then you got
There-
the original trilogy, which is just so nice,
It's
including the
absolutely
remake.
goated. It's the best. It's the best.
You
It is the
got
best.
you got the original CTR, which I've never played personally, but it's people like
Yeah.
it. And then
Right.
you also got the remake, sort of remake, which is really good. And then you got Crash Bash, which is good to
So
a fault.
I just always found it so funny. It's like we hate most of the games.
Yeah, the GBA games
But we're-
suck.
we're-
The
I
fucking
will defend it, but I will
PS2
defend
generation
Crash.
sucks.
I will die on that hill. Like I'll
Yeah,
defend
me
Crash.
too.
That's the hill we're dying on.
The only
just
fair.
the only reason that might change is if they keep releasing new Crash games that are really good, which I hope they
Yes.
do. But yeah,
Yeah.
because
I
we're
think-
we're counting Crash 4 as a brand new game, which we should do.
Yeah. you
So
should-
if they
because
build
it
off
is.
that, if
It
they
really
make new
is.
party games, if they make like
That
I don't
was
know,
a
if they
start of
make
a new
like
era.
a sequel to CTR or something,
Yes.
if they make
I will.
a Crash
That's
Bash
the
remake,
regime,
that would
like,
not be a
that's-
new game, but still.
But like that's
like-
the start of a new era, right?
Yeah,
there.
if
That's
they-
the
if
start
they-
of a new era.
If they make so many to the point where there are more better games than there are bad ones, then
Yeah.
obviously the
That's-
opinion will change.
As someone who has no stake in this fight, if Crash survives or not, or if they continue to be good or bad or not, I actually do believe, with my unbiased opinion, that Crash has a bright future ahead of it.
I do too, man.
Yeah, I hope
I
so.
do too, considering what we just saw with 4. So
Yeah.
I can definitely live with that. So
So we should dive into the mechanics of Crash 4 at least
All right.
to
Okay.
just fill Ryan in on what it's like.
All right.
Crash
The different
4.
masks.
Crash 4 is the, I guess, 20 years younger sequel of Crash 3 Warped.
Yeah.
Fucking made on PS4 and technically now PS5, and I think pretty much all current gen and next gen consoles. You get different power-ups instead. It controls exactly like Crash 2. So you don't get the bazooka, you don't get the speed shoes. You only get the power-ups and whatnot that you have in
But
Crash
John,
2.
what do you get? What do you get in place of that?
You get the fucking masks. Here, let me show you my little timer I got for Crash 4.
There we go. It's about time.
These masks here.
There you
Yeah. I've absolutely
Each-
played with that timer.
Each one with a
Yeah,
different.
I figured.
Yeah, I know you both have.
You know I
Each,
fiddle with things.
each one of those masks has a specific power up. One can slow down time, I think.
Yep.
One can.
One gives
Trying to
you
think. One
the
reverses
flip-
gravity for
yes.
Crash, either having him fall upwards or fall downwards.
Yep. Your third one is
One-
your
yeah.
infinite spin.
Yeah, one is an infinite spin that makes you be able to break like the metal boxes, I think.
And then the other
And
one
then the
is
other one
flipping the
is
reality
flipping
back
the
and forth.
reality. So like you can put boxes or obstacles
Yeah.
out or into your reality and do what you please with them.
Mm,
That sounds cool.
it is
yeah.
really cool. You're
It's
gonna
very
like that.
cool. It's very ridiculous how crazy it'll get.
Yeah.
The
Well,
difficulty.
I've heard 4 is really hard.
It is
it is
unbelievably hard.
Go watch
Like,
it. Here's a meaningless plug. Go watch my Crash 4 playthrough from about a year ago. The quality is but y'all should go check it out anyways because I rage like crazy on it.
Ryan, I thought I was good at Crash.
Yes, me too. A little bit.
Self-admittingly, I thought I was nice at Crash. I thought I was pretty good at it. Mechanics, I thought I understood them. I'm like, how could this be so, like, what is this? This is so dumb. You know, like, you start out and you're like, oh, here, more linear. And then very quickly, like, the end of level 1, you're like, oh my God, like, I just died 8 times in a row. I'm like, this, that. And here's the thing. It's not like it's like as soon as the difficulty gets hard, it stays hard or it gets harder.
Yes.
There is no dipping. It's like you're here and then hang on for the ride, baby, because it is difficult. It is a hard game, man. And the
Here's
first
what I
critic,
will say. Here's what I will say. Ryan, you might want to take your headphones off for this next part because I'm going to spoil a little bit of Crash 4, just a tiny bit.
Story wise, or because I don't.
Gameplay wise, a little bit.
listen at your own risk, as it
Yeah,
were.
listen at your own risk. And that goes for the viewers too. Skip ahead like 10, 20 seconds. So the last level is ridiculously hard.
Yes.
And I mean the last level before the final boss.
Yes.
My only complaint is the final boss is fucking a fucking cakewalk by comparison.
It's a joke. But here's the thing, though. So I'm glad you bring that up. So if you think about it, though, it is in the tradition of Crash. I want you to jog your memory. It is tradition for the last true level to be the most difficult one. And then think about every boss fight in 1, 2, 3, and now 4. The final boss is easy. Like Cortex in 3 and Warped is easy. It is easy.
I mean,
You just have to watch out for the spin. We know the mechanics. You have to watch out for those guys fighting in the middle and trying to hit you and stuff like that. But like Lights
and
Out,
exploding on each other.
Bug Light is really hard. Bug Light is hard.
Dude, that level sucks.
In Warp, Bug Light's hard, right?
Yeah.
So, and like, I think it makes sense though. They make the last level the hardest, and then you go in and it's supposed to be, I think in my head, I like to justify it and say, what it is it's a gift for making it that long.
It's the victory
lap.
It
It's a
is
victory lap.
Exactly, it's a victory lap, and it's like I can live with it, because
Yeah,
really
that's
the other
fair.
boss fights are so much harder, and so,
I guess I'm just used to not having that as the case because it's like in almost all the other games I play, It's usually the other way around. It's usually,
Right.
by comparison, the boss fight's much tougher. I'm
Yeah.
sure Ryan will fully agree with me on that, especially with like Kingdom Hearts.
Mm.
I don't know what
Uh,
you're talking about. Zigbar and Roxas slapped the shit out of Xemnas.
Fair. At least
So
Roxas would in KH3.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting though.
But I don't want to talk too much about Star Wars or KH because we'll be discussing those in the future at some point.
yes, yes.
Well,
yes,
we've
yes.
already discussed them, I think. Some of
Yeah.
them. So okay, on to the extras maybe. So like box hunting, time trials, and bonus levels. So the bonus levels are just kind of nice, where it's like, hey, this is a really hard condensed segment of a level. You get as many tries as you want, go nuts, but you need it for the box hunting. And I'm over here like, dope, that's awesome. I love that approach.
But
Yeah.
here's, I think you're missing a little bit of it because of context. You also get secret levels. I think that's what I meant when I put bonus levels down. So like, do this and you'll be teleported to a brand new level, or like land on this platform
Like
and you will literally
body slam this platform.
and you'll literally be transported to a brand new warp room where it will have like bonus levels only.
Is there any indication of them?
No. Not.
I don't like that.
You have to look out for it.
Okay.
There will be like a sign or something, like one is to hit an alien sign. I'm not going to tell you what level or where, but you just have to hit an alien sign, a picture of an alien on a sign, and you'll be transported to a different level that you can get items for.
Like,
and all you know is look for that sign and it's at this level.
Here's the thing. In Crash 2, there in a way the bonuses are obvious because something looks out of place.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, why is this? How do I get, like, why is this platform in the water? Why is it by itself? And why is there a trail of boxes leading to it? Like, I could make that jump, if I double jump and I get over it, I can make that jump. And it kind of looks off the beaten path a little bit. Like, there's some stuff that is like, and then like, yeah, I don't want to get specifics because I want you to go on your own journey, but there's something where it's like, that should kill me, but that doesn't look like it should be there because the shape of it makes no sense. And so there's stuff that's like, okay, this looks weird. This looks funky.
And the crazy thing to me is, it still surprises me to this day, Dylan, that one time when we were just playing Crash 3 Warped, we were literally just trying to beat a level and we died at one point and it teleported us to a brand new level. And I was just like, wait,
complete
what the
accident.
fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a complete accident. And we were just teleported to a different level and we just played through it.
So that is part
and
of
that
the
was,
fun
I think,
too,
the original Crash 3.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was original. So
yeah,
I don't know, there are parts of it, but those are the bonus level side of it. And then you earn all your gems that way. I know you're a completionist, Ryan, so you'll want to, of course, you'll want to be doing that.
Yeah,
same with relics.
To the ends of the earth.
Yeah,
same with relics.
So
I think
in the box hunting, yeah. So with the box hunting though, and I like the time trials, man, but 105% is still 105%, whether you get it with platinums or blues. So I can live with the sapphire, but I can definitely live with that. Yeah. So the box hunting though, in 1, 2, and 3, there are not very many hidden boxes. There are times in levels where you go to destroy a TNT crate and you're like, I just destroyed the box next to it. That is my jump. I jump on this box to get the one that's out of reach now.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that. In Crash 4, it is almost criminal how difficult it is to get boxes. But I appreciate it because after so many years, and I think this is part of it, John, after so many years of just knowing how to play Crash 1, 2, and 3, I finally got hit with a challenge again where I'm like, what the hell is going on? Where are these things? I was so happy to finally be like, okay, Crash is hard again for the first time in 10 years. This is nice. You know?
And the thing is, you always hate to see getting to the end of the level and literally seeing, I found 99 boxes out of 100.
Oh my god, that is something that is definitely not a good time because you're like, now what do I do? Do I restart or do I just chalk up my losses and move on with my life?
And Ryan, if you haven't gotten to that point yet, don't worry. We
Or
promise you will.
You'll think
Well-
you'll think you'll hit every single last box, and you're like, I'm
Yes.
missing 12. You're like, I'm missing 12.
12 boxes.
You're like, how is that?
And in Crash 1, he gets hit by every fucking box you miss.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know.
It's the most disrespectful. It's like,
It's
great,
bad.
great, but you missed 10 boxes. Ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Well,
You're
and
literally
here's-
giving
here's-
Crash brain damage.
Which he already has enough of.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. In terms of the time trials and these bonus levels and the like really hard boxes, I love things that make like really push the mechanics of the game to their absolute limit.
Yeah.
And like
Mhm.
that's like the super bosses in Kingdom Hearts. That's like, I don't know, the time trials and the ghost trials in Mario Kart. Like anything that like really pushes
Yeah.
you to get as good at the game as you possibly can.
Mhm.
I love. That's why I like competitive Smash. And so the time trials in these boxes seem really up my alley.
Yeah, I think it would be, yeah.
No, you're gonna have a good
Um,
time doing that.
Yeah. Especially with the bonus
Um,
levels. Especially once you get to Crash 2 and 3. I think 2 also has it with the bonus warp room that you unlock
Mhm.
after beating the game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's not much going back after you beat 1, to be honest with you. Like, maybe a couple extra hours, but like, there's not a whole lot of retracing your steps.
Unless you
Mhm.
have like specific gems you want to try to get or time
But the
trials
thing
you
is,
want to
you're
try to
already
do.
going
But
back. You're already doing the time trials as soon as you beat the level,
Yeah.
which is smart in 1 because you don't get any upgrades. But when you get to 2 and 3, you might want to hang off until you get your speed shoes. Well, speed shoes in 3, but 2 you can probably do it right away. But 3 you probably want to wait, hang around until you get your speed shoes, then you can go back and do your
pretty
trials there.
pretty much beat the entire game of 3 and
Mhm.
then go back and do
That
the
is
time
going-
trials.
I respect your advice. I will take it. That is going to drive me insane.
Yeah. Well, it's called the Insane Trilogy, so
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So yes, so there are you can get extremely bored with a platformer like this,
mhm.
and I'm glad to see that in Crash, throughout Crash, that there are things that keep it exciting and keep it difficult. Because
Yeah.
if there was no measuring stick in each level, do you know
mhm.
how like mind-numbingly boring that would be?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You would not be having a good time whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And for what it's worth, I do also appreciate them having the option of having it so it counts the amount of deaths you have in Crash 4 than having you have
I
a
don't wanna know
specific
the
amount
number.
of lives.
I don't even want to know the number of how many times I've died in Crash Wars, man. It's a
Dude,
lot.
I was like, I'll try
It's
the
probably
I'll
over the
try
years.
to
It's probably 1,000.
I was like, I'll try the death counter in Crash 4, and then I was like, wow, I'm so happy I did that because I would have literally lost my shit by part 2.
All right, so
Um,
let's go ahead. Yeah, let's transition here. So
character design and aesthetic.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll start on this.
Thoughts, Ryan?
I really like it. The like mask kind of tribalism is cool. It's kind of like mysticism versus science because you have like the masks
Right,
and
and
Aka versus
Yeah.
Cortex and his science. The Wumpa fruits are colorful and cool. The level designs are all like colorful and fun and vibrant. And so like I actually really like the aesthetic. It seems like from what I've seen of future games, it gets more modern and like more sciencey as the games go on.
kind of,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really liking 1 so far. In terms of character design, Cortex is fun.
Cortex looks funny. He
Yeah,
looks hilarious.
he's very cartoonishly
Like, and I just love
villainy.
the hyperbolic. First of all, the name Cortex. Okay, so you're
Yeah.
the brainiac,
brain.
and like just the like exaggerative nature, like just having this guy's head be heavier and bigger than his
Yeah.
body just looks so
Yeah.
funny.
His
Yeah.
assistant is delightfully hideous.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Crash's girlfriend is interesting.
Well, that's a whole man. That is a whole can of worms, man.
Don't worry, she's
Yeah,
only in the first game and sort of the fourth one, sort of.
furry bait.
Yeah. It is weird.
She is
And
definitely
now
furry
moving-
bait.
Moving on to Crash. I hate him.
No.
I'm sorry, but the
no.
orange and the
Oh.
blue, it's so like
No.
contrasting and hideous. The way his tongue always falls out.
No.
So let me tell you the
Wrong.
vibe.
Wrong.
That is
Let
incorrect, my friend.
That is so
Let me tell you the
ignorant.
vibes I get from Crash.
I don't
Okay,
even
I
want to
get
know.
like
I don't
Oh my
even want to know at this
goodness.
point. I think
I
I'm ready
don't
to
think
call
I
it
do
here.
too.
I get like big dumb like tiny like think Smash Mouth. Smash Mouth and Crash seem like they're perfect for each other.
Right.
Like very punk, very like in your face,
Dude.
kind of stupid.
Right.
His tongue is dangling out, like he can hardly like keep himself from drooling everywhere.
Come on.
But here's the thing. Have you seen what he looked like during his PS2 run?
I have, and I think it's no different.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
You think
This is
it's
Um,
no better, no worse?
No better, no worse.
What the
I have
fuck?
a hard time.
No,
I have a
no,
hard time believing this. This
Oh,
is
a bit
insane.
gosh.
Like I
Oh,
don't
just
know.
a bit.
Just
Okay.
it bugs me, and like I really think it's not pleasant to look at. His like dark orange fur doesn't go well with his orange fur. His blue shorts, like
John's
it just
having an aneurysm right now.
it just all doesn't work
Yes, I
together.
am.
But I
Here's
took
my
a bit
butt.
to tear him apart. I love Coco's design.
Oh wow, good.
Cool.
Glad you love the meaningless side chick.
Yes.
I play as Coco every chance I get. The pink, the white, the blue, the orange, the blonde. It all fits together more
Great.
cohesively.
Great.
Carrying
her
the
idol-
fucking
idol-
laptop.
Glad
What?
you love Coco. Yeah, her and her
Said-
stupid laptop.
Yeah, her and her
Okay,
stupid
but-
laptop. She plays like garbage in Wrath of Cortex, though.
Oh, fair enough. I wouldn't know.
We
Yeah,
hate we
I-
hate Coco here. We hate Coco here.
Interesting.
I mean,
Oh,
she's
I don't know.
okay.
Coco actually seems more like a real character, like an actual person. Crash
was
is just
going-
like
I was going to say she's like the absolute reverse of Kyrie in KH2. She's playable, she's good at like levels and whatnot, but she just doesn't really have too much involvement in the story. Like literally she's literally barely relevant in Crash 3. Crash 2, she's more relevant.
See, to me, she's just more pleasant, more relatable Crash. Like, they're a palette swap, and she's just the palette I like way more than the original.
I guess. I prefer Crash, and I'm assuming Dylan feels the same way.
Oh my god, of course.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Of course.
My
I do.
goodness,
And
Ryan.
Oh, like, she's
What
cute and
a- what
pleasant,
a-
and he's ugly and stupid.
What a horrible take.
I don't like ugly, stupid things. I'm sorry.
That is a
why do you
horrible
own mirrors?
take.
You own mirrors, don't you?
You
All right, get rid of your mirrors, Ryan.
Hold on, let me turn your video off real quick.
Seriously.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even know what to say. Okay, I love everything about this game. You're a jerk, man. I love everything. Everything is perfect.
The
There's
only
literally
thing I
nothing
don't
wrong.
like, the only thing I don't like about character design, and I'm sure Dylan will feel the same way, is the garbage era of Crash. Their character designs were
I don't even think
also
we need to discuss
garbage.
that.
We can throw away. I could do without all of that middle stuff. I don't know if
Yeah.
they did one thing right in that era, to be honest with you.
Besides,
Like, one thing.
Crash Team,
It's only
Crash
used
Tag
as
Team
observing
Racing.
what not to do.
Like, exactly, John. I can't, but like, you were talking about Clash of the Titans, Twin Sanity, Mind Over Mutant. What's one thing they did that was carried over into Crash 4?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, there we go. So we don't even have to talk about that junk. That
Yeah.
stuff is trash. It's terrible.
It's
First of all,
non-canon.
Crash is tatted. He's tatted up in those. He has
He
tattoos.
is. He has fucking
He's
tattoos.
tattoos.
And
I
Tiny
can't-
Tiger looks
I
fucking
can't even-
stupid.
I can't even do it. I can't bring. I
And
can't bring myself
Cortex
to talk
looks
about it.
stupid. And what's his name? The Uka, the mask
Yeah,
that
what
is with
is he doing?
Cortex.
Yeah, it's like, what is that? I hate
And I
it.
remember
I
watching
literally
like
hate it.
I remember watching an Antude video on like the garbage
Yeah.
trash games of Crash.
Crash
And
Bandicoot.
like and Trash Bandicoot, and like I think it was Mind Over Mutant. They tried different animation styles for some of their cutscenes, and at one point they did South Park.
Oh my god.
You remember
Yeah.
that?
That's actually
Yes!
kind of cool. That's actually
Yes,
kind
the
of cool.
cutscenes.
They made
Okay, they did one thing
fucking.
right.
They made
All right,
everyone
okay, they did
Canadian
one thing
South Park
right.
characters.
Cutscenes are kind of cool. The cutscenes are kind of cool. They did
Yeah,
one
they were
thing
kind
right.
of cool, but like the gameplay was
It's
also
like,
not
what was
Crash.
it?
Well, and that's I say that as someone who hasn't seen them. That's like, oh, that's a cool idea. I'm sure with how those games qualities wise were, the implementation was bad.
When we get done, we'll watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
They're kind of
Okay.
I do also like how I think it was Crash of the Titans was couch co-op for the story mode. I did like that as well.
was.
That's cool. That's
all
cool.
right. So maybe we shouldn't shit on them so bad. But
But
either
like,
way, though, they're still terrible games.
yeah, and
And
they're
couch
still
co-op is not exactly a revolutionary idea.
And here's the thing, they're still not canon.
And they're not
Crash
canon.
4, It's About Time, I'm assuming we're all in agreement that's canon, along
my
with
God.
the
I have no
trilogy.
reason to assume otherwise.
Yeah, it is.
Along with the original trilogy, of course.
Dude,
So-
I love the commercial where like they're like, we've stopped Cortex like 3 times, and Coco's like, is that it? I feel like it's been more than that. And
They're
Crash
like-
just like shrugs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's them
That's funny.
basically throwing all
acknowledging
of the
the fact
Crash
that-
games in the trash.
That's the
Yeah.
acknowledgement that we're not counting any of that junk.
That's a
Yes,
funny
exactly.
joke.
Yeah.
That's a funny
Exactly.
joke.
I loved it. I very much appreciated that.
So I'm really excited to talk about the music because
That's
This-
another thing. I think it was what was it? Insanity actually did a cappella for their music.
yeah, all the music was a cappella,
And I think
which is like
from what I remember, it sounded actually pretty good.
it was fine. But
I
here's the
don't-
thing. Here's the thing. Here's what it comes down to. And this is the correct people say like, "Oh, your opinions can't be wrong or right." Yes, they
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
They
You're right.
obviously can.
Mhm.
You can have correct opinions. If there is majority consensus, you have the
Yeah.
correct opinion.
It's not even majority, but like
And here's my opinion. Here's my hot
Okay, anyone
take.
that starts
Of
off
all
with
the-
anyone that starts off with, well, Hitler wasn't that. All right, so yeah, you already have
Oh,
the
jeez,
wrong.
Dylan.
You definitely already have the wrong opinion there.
Yeah. So
So
here's
the music. So go ahead, John.
I was
I'm
about to
gonna
say, so-
I'm gonna start fangirling super hard here.
my hot take on the music.
Oh my God, why do you have to do this?
Of all of the game series that we three are fans of, including like Kingdom Hearts and trying to think of others, like the Lego games, I guess. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think Crash has probably
Fair.
the second, like the Crash franchise, the series
Yeah.
that we like and play, like the trilogy, the fourth game,
Yeah.
all the party games and whatnot. I think it has the second best score
Oh, thank God.
of
all right.
like the games that we're fans of, with the first
Okay.
being Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
interesting. Okay.
I'm glad you said. I was really worried you were gonna say I hate all the
worse.
music. I thought
No,
you were
I
gonna
love
say,
it. I really do
Well-
enjoy it. I have
Well-
I have one of the songs stuck in my head right now because I wanted it to be, and I'm jamming out in my head. Don't worry.
All right. Okay.
Let me just say that we're all Smash Brothers players, and Smash Brothers is definitively the best music in any video game because it's
Eh.
all-time hits from all the best franchises in video
Okay.
games.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like Smash original music.
No, but like the music in Smash is just uncomparable because it's just an all-time hits from all the best video game franchises.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
or
know.
Most
I
of
feel
the best
like-
video game franchises.
But the thing is, I feel like at that point you might as well point the finger at the specific video game franchise that gave
That's
birth to
fair.
that song or that score, because like I'm not gonna
but
say
it does have the music in the game, and it is
I'm
part
not
of the
gonna s-
game.
I'm not gonna say Smash Ultimate has the best music because
I've seen that take
fucking-
multiple times.
because Hollow Bastion is in Smash and like the songs in it
Yeah.
are from KH. And I'm gonna fangirl over the Smash Ultimate score because Hollow Bastion music is there. Or
Mhm.
I'm gonna fangirl over the Zelda stages because different Zelda world themes and songs are there. I'm gonna fangirl over the Zelda games that have those songs in it, or the KH games that have those songs in it, rather than the fact that Smash Bros is just an amalgamation of all of that.
That's fair. I would consider them because it's hard to be that amalgamation, and it does have the music. But
I mean,
that's
it's
neither
nice.
here nor there.
It's nice that it's there, and
Um,
it helps you like it helps gain interest for the series that is originally from, but it's like you fall under the rabbit hole of saying, oh, I like this song because it's from Smash Bros. No, that's incorrect. You like that song because it's from Mario, because it's from Kingdom Hearts, because it's from Legend of Zelda.
All right, do
Yeah.
you want to hear the correct take? Because
Well,
here's the.
Let's
let,
hear-
let me hit you. I have a simple one, so let me go
Okay, go
first with
ahead.
the
Go
simple
ahead.
one. It is pleasant, upbeat music that's appropriate for a platformer. Nothing that's gripping me or that I'm thinking about long after I'm done playing.
Sure.
It fits it a lot like how Spider-Man's music fits Spider-Man, or various other things, but nothing stand out. It's just a very appropriate, fun type of music.
Wait until you
Right.
hear the Warp Room theme in Crash 3.
All
That
right,
shit's
John.
a fucking bop.
All right, so I'm so glad you said that because here's the correct take. Here's the correct take.
Let's hear the correct
And you will
take.
come to realize this. Although it's not widely realized and recognized in the video game industry, Crash 3 has some of the best video game music of all time. And that is
Yes.
the correct opinion.
Yes.
Ryan, there is not one bad song on the Crash 3 soundtrack. There's not one bad song.
Another reason why it's my favorite
Okay, all the
game in the
medieval stuff,
series.
like
Oh,
it's so good.
It
Okay,
is.
all the Arabian stuff is amazing. The
I
Arabian
can't
stuff
really
is
remember too
amazing.
well, but yeah.
Oh my god, like hang 'em high, like
I remember loving that level.
don't. Yes, it's so good. Okay,
hmm
and then
Even the trap,
just you said
even
you
the
said just
bad levels,
the warp room. Oh my god, yes, dude. Oh
even the
my god,
bad levels have good songs,
yes.
like
And
the
okay, so
vehicle ones and whatnot.
yes, and the jet ski, don't da 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 don't da 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 da, like
Bro,
all good,
copyright, stop.
all good, all perfect. It's like
Fine, Dylan's a bad enough singer that you won't get
oh,
dinged.
it's not even close. So
Fair enough.
so
We'll
you have
fill
all this
Ryan in
amazing music.
musically after this.
We have all this amazing music, and then it's like, all right, so and just standing in the warp room, that song can run 24 hours in my head, and I'd be
Yeah.
happy because it's
It's living in your
so
head. It's living in your head rent free.
rent free. I'm paying it. I'm
It's
basically paying it
living
to
in
live
my
there.
head rent free right now, and I'm not even listening to it.
It is so good. It is all so good. And
It
here's the thing.
is.
I was like, I hop on Crash 4 and I'm like, you can't possibly top this. And it didn't, but it is very, very close.
I'm
There are
also
levels
drawing a blank on Crash 4 music.
there are levels in that game where I'm like, I would like just to like just sit here at this one spot, not even play the game, turn off all the sound effects, and just sit there and listen to the music
Mm-hmm.
because it is so good. And I'm
Probably
usually
find a
not.
YouTube video of that, but yeah,
Oh
of just
yeah.
this music.
And I'm usually not even like that. Like I'm not about. I don't really appreciate art in a deep way usually, you know.
Yeah.
But there is something about the music in Crash 3 that is just it is untouchable. And I think,
Yes.
John, I think a big part of why we enjoy it is because those songs are so memorable. They are
Mm-hmm.
so memorable. They're
And I
beyond
guess
like
you fall under the issue of, well, it's I can't remember the name of it. It's familiar to us. I forget what it's called. It's
nostalgic.
nostalgic. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nostalgic to us.
Yeah.
But I mean, for what it's worth, it is a bop, and we're gonna prove Ryan that it
Oh
prove to
yeah.
Ryan
Oh
that
yeah.
it is after this.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
there anything else we wanted to discuss?
No, I'm good there, man. I love Crash
Okay.
3. I love Crash 4.
Yeah, me
I think
too.
Crash 3 is it's
And I'm sure you also love
it's hard
Crash
to make a
2.
case now. Yeah, Crash 2 is good, but I like Crash 2. If you could combine, you know what the perfect game would be? Like Crash 4's difficulty, Crash 2's level design, although Crash 4's level design is
I
really
think I know
good
where you're
too.
going with this.
And then Crash 3 music would be the best Crash game maybe of all
Yes.
time.
I was just
It
telling
just would
Ryan
be
I was just telling Ryan about how combining the gameplay for KH1, KH2 and KH3 would be like the preferred gameplay moving forward. And
yeah,
I think you're absolutely right with Crash being similar in the aspect of combining Crash 4's difficulty, Crash 2's gameplay, and Crash 3's score.
yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, Ryan?
In terms of music, no.
Okay. I think, are we ready to move on to player rankings then?
Oh, I was gonna, for a whole other topic, do kind of what was it like playing it in the day versus nostalgia, and also like the battle of the mascots, because you have to remember, during the time of the PlayStation 1, Crash was the PlayStation
Mhm.
mascot versus Mario and Sonic.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
correct. That
I
is
mean,
definitely correct.
I guess I don't know because it's like that was in the '90s, and by the time me and Dylan, at least by the time I was playing Crash, the whole mascot war thing wasn't really relevant because Crash basically was dead by that point, or at least his series was.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Like,
And
in terms of nostalgia, like, I was gonna say that I don't think that I think nowadays it's a pretty mediocre game, even though at its time it was revolutionary.
Crash
So I'll
And
say
I'm
One.
this:
looking,
the original three.
Oh, the
I mean,
original
but
three.
Ryan can only go off Crash One, but I will agree
yeah.
that
Yeah.
I can go with that 1, 2, and 3. But here's the thing, John. We can even speak to the fact that when we played it as young men in this world, it was amazing.
Hmm.
It was. It is my favorite game series. I
Yeah.
love everything about it, basically, and I think I was glad because I was playing. I was playing. Okay, so in the years leading up to Insane Trilogy, um, I was playing on a PlayStation 3 emulator. That's how I was playing 1, 2, and 3. So I was
Right.
playing the originals on
Mhm.
PC, but it was with an emulator,
Okay.
and I still loved every second of it. And I was like,
Hmm.
"This is amazing." And then being able to play Insane Trilogy, I was like, I just doubled down. Like I don't think I don't believe that I am biased to the fact that we played it as kids and now it's just as good now or any of that
Yeah.
fact. Like it is just as good and it is I love it just as much as I did when it first came. Well, we obviously weren't around when it came out, but when we first
Mhm.
started playing
Experienced
it,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
to me, my opinion just hasn't changed. I'll just double down. Like, okay, yeah, 1 is the worst, and
Hmm.
2 is really fun, and 3 for me is just a good time, you know?
Yeah.
And now with 4 coming out, it's like, yeah, I love Crash and
Yeah.
I love everything about it. I really wouldn't change much. I can complain, but I like the game for its quirks. I like how
Hmm.
it's a little wonky and it's a little stupid and a
Yeah.
little mindless at times, but like I think that's the most important appeal of it is like it
Yeah.
doesn't take itself too seriously.
And I
Mm.
think, and I love the fact that the story itself is like not that complicated. And I think it's funny because we're literally all three, or at least, I mean, Dylan, you're working on it, but we're all three here, KH fans, Kingdom Hearts fans. And that story, I think we can all agree on, is pretty complicated, pretty
Yeah,
convoluted. It's pretty confusing. And we're also here, we're all Crash fans, and that story is very simplistic, very, very easy to follow. You could, I could literally go tell my 3-year-old niece the story and she would understand it.
yeah,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah,
fine. Which is fine.
I agree.
It's okay that it's like that.
Mhm.
Not everything in
Yeah,
this world
I
needs to
don't
be
want it to
super
be like that.
complex.
Well, it's like when you're criticizing things, I think an important element to not gloss over is you sit down and you've dissected everything on an academic level and you like worried about everything, but then you ask yourself the most important question: is it fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the answer is a resounding even 1, Crash 1. Yes,
And
it is
here's my
fun.
take on that. Variety is fun. And I don't mean like what is it called? I don't mean like vehicle levels or gimmicks or that. No. I mean having variety. Playing Kingdom Hearts is good and fun because it's nice it's complicated but it's fun. It's like Lord of the Rings esque in that capacity, how you can enjoy it because of its complicated story, but you can also appreciate the simplistic gameplay that comes along with at least most the games that you get in the series of Kingdom Hearts. So
Yeah. Yeah.
You just shoehorned it in there as hard as you can. You
He
know?
really
yeah,
did.
I
yeah.
mean, really, the
Well, and here's all I'll say too is that in terms of complexity, Platformers are the easiest thing to understand, point A to point B,
Mm.
but they're the hardest thing to master. They are incredibly challenging, especially with the time trials.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and with the variety, there's a lot of different kind of mechanics that they introduced: the double jump, the rocket, or the sprint boots. So, I mean, it really is like the same simple concept, but just with tweaks that make it more mechanically interesting.
Here's what
Mhm.
I can like. Here's what I like appreciate about it, and especially 3, and like John, you know this because we spent like yes, the game obviously it is simple, but here's what's the very cool thing about it, and that's why you need stuff like time trials because it got to a point where yeah, the game itself just going through it super easy. After a while the game's like okay, and then you're like all right, now I need something to push me further. So here comes the time trials. What I like is like now I'm trying to master one thing. I'm trying to get really good at one thing, you know? And like we spent the one level in Crash 3. Man, I can't remember what it's called. First warp room. Can't remember the name for it. Orient Express.
Yeah, I remember
We
that.
spent like 3 hours just trying to knock off milliseconds.
Yeah.
It's like stuff like that where it's like, yes, game simple, obviously, of course, but it's like that's not the point. Like the point is like it can get complex, and that's what I like about it. It
Mhm.
can,
Yeah, I
and we
can.
could when we sat there and we're just like taking care of everything at a micro level practically. Like, all right,
Yeah.
like okay, so when you come around here at like this exact point, when you get to this frame, we're gonna start turning this way, and then we're gonna jump at this exact frame and stuff like that. It's just really really cool, man. That's what I like about this. Like
Yeah, it
Mhm.
platformers, like
was
they can get complicated.
yeah, it was
Mhm.
like frame perfect speed running
Yes,
almost.
Yeah.
yes.
And
God, that was
I
so
did that in
cool.
one where it's like, oh, if I didn't get it by this frame, then this obstacle would go off, and that would send me back 3 whole seconds. So it's like
Yes,
I
it's like
needed to be dead on.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
That's what's really cool. That's what's
Mhm.
really
I did notice like individual frames could set me back 3 whole seconds
it's nuts.
if I missed a gate, like
And
an
and think,
obstacle would gate me.
and think
Yeah.
about this. We're playing on PlayStation 4,
Mm-hmm.
PC.
Mm-hmm.
When these came out, you're talking about playing on PS1 with no joystick. You're playing on a directional pad.
Yeah.
I think the directional pad makes it easier. I
All right,
truly do.
Eh,
okay, well, sell me on that because
yeah.
the issue I take with it is that it feels outdated. I know the game was designed with that in mind, obviously.
Yeah.
It just feels wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you told me to sell this on you, and honestly, it comes down to personal preference at the end of the day. But for me, the D-pad it will never have an issue with drift.
Mhm.
But also the levels are designed in very linear fashion, where if you're off with the analog stick by say 10 degrees, you'll slowly come towards the front of the screen or towards the back.
Mhm.
And that is kind of a problem when the levels are so linear, where you can end up in a slightly off place that you don't want to be. And then if you need to do micro adjustments with the D-pad, then it's just small taps up and down with you lean, like let's say you're running right, top right or bottom right, just to micro adjust, and then you lay off and know you're moving in one true direction.
Yeah.
So that's my philosophy around it. Like I
Okay.
said, personal preference.
Yeah.
Right. I think with the newer games, or at least like the PS4 remaster that we have, the collection, as well as Crash 4, you kind of need the joysticks because of how they're designed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
Oh
not
yeah.
like one to one with the PS1
Yeah.
games, but the way it's
Yeah.
designed now, it's nice to have.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
I would probably change my mind for Crash 4.
You didn't get around to Crash 4, did you?
No, I am 95% of the way through one.
Okay.
Okay. Um,
So
so I guess this is a conversation me and Dylan can only have, but like, what do you think of the story for Crash 4? Is it canon to you?
Yeah, definitely. And here's why. Here's why I think we should certainly consider it canon because think about the developer choices that were made, especially with just the name. Like it's about time. Like it's about time what? We know what they're talking about. It's about time that Crash Bandicoot fixes and clears its name,
Yeah.
of the junk that was released in the mid 2000s and 2010s.
Hmm.
Like you gotta think like literally no one was even thinking about Crash except for you and me until Insanity Trilogy came out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Like,
and it's unfortunate.
Well, I remember the E3 reveal for Insanity Trilogy, and it was a big deal.
it was
That
awesome.
was hype.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was totally awesome. And like, I think that with those creative choices that were made and the naming of it and the consideration of like, okay, like we're going back to more, you could call it traditional platforming, but it feels more like less of traditional platforming, more like traditional Crash Bandicoot is what it feels
Yeah.
like. Would be a
Yeah.
more correct thing because it's unique.
It's
But like that's what I. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like how The Force Awakens for Star Wars was like, we're going back to how things were, except Crash 4, in Crash 4's case, they're not copying anything
Right.
in the sense of like story
I mean, definitely,
or
yeah,
level
not story,
design.
but certainly will certainly influence with like the witty jokes
Yes.
and like stuff like I guess like the cutscenes kind of in a way, and like the replayability was a big thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how well you remember like those middle games like Mind Over Mutant and Clash of the Titans, but it's like they were, besides being like kind of boring in my opinion, there was really not a lot of replayability. Like you didn't like want to go back for like the time trial because it didn't feel the same. Like it was just too 3D open world, which at the time I guess games were moving that way. But I just think like
I can't really remember that age of Crash all too well.
it
Just because
is kind of a blur. But I don't know.
Yeah.
The thing I really like about Crash 4, man, is like it feels like Crash is supposed to. So like you want to say like you want to consider it canon, like definitely like that feels right. And I kind of wish like I think the community does somewhat say like let's disregard that middle junk. Like it's important because like you had to kind of get through it.
Yeah.
Plus like the original Crash 4 the Wrath of Cortex on PlayStation 2.
I remember that, yeah.
Like even that was like okay, but like you remember like it was like every third level was like a gimmick, and it was like holy smokes, like everything was a jetpack, a boulder, an avalanche, a scope. Seriously, like it was like it felt like every single level was like oh my god, and like the mecha suit and stuff. Like I don't know,
that's too much variety.
Way too much.
And I might be contradicting myself.
No, but that's
like,
that's way too much.
No, and I would disagree. It's too little variety because like, so you mentioned an avalanche level. I imagine it's like he's snowboarding towards the screen, outrunning an avalanche.
Yeah.
That's a level where it is a different kind of level, but in the individual level itself, there's no variety.
Yeah, correct. No,
those types of levels are levels where you literally do nothing. In my humble opinion.
No, it's true, and
I
like
think
that was sort of the.
I think I remember watching a YouTube video one time where someone was saying like you can literally set the controller down for this Wrath of Cortex level because and you can win the level too.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's totally crazy.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be. So I don't know.
Shouldn't.
I like it might, if it were up to me, there'd be 6 Crash games that are canon. So 1, 2, 3, and now 4. It's about time. I'd throw. I don't know. I was gonna say Bash, but
maybe like a spin-off.
Forget canon. I'll say staples. Staples in the series.
Yeah, 1, 2, someone's getting into the series and they want to know what to play. They want to know what to play.
Exactly. Here's what I'm gonna say.
Go
play 1, 2, 3, 4. Then when you're bored, you can go play Bash, and then when you're really bored, go play Tag Team Racing. That's what I would say.
Or the or CTR, like the PS4 game.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Which that reboot was fine.
Yeah.
That reboot was fine. But that's what I would say. Those are the staples in the series.
I have been interested in getting back into Tag Team Racing.
That's fair.
But I mean, with enough time, I will.
So then something else to talk about, this is obviously going up after the end of Ultimate, which is about video game legacy. Ultimate's over. But Crash didn't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And here's what I want to say is that game is very much about video game mascots. How do you think Crash was as a video game mascot and like compare him
Oh.
to his competitors of the time, Sonic and Mario.
And now we're
Already
talking about
competitive
this,
Sonic.
and fucking Xbox owns Crash. Or at least
Yeah.
they're about to, or going to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't follow it
Well,
too well.
Yeah, well, you have to remember in Crash's heyday, Xbox wasn't even a thing. Or I guess I
Yeah.
say heyday, but when he was first
Yeah.
coming into this world.
Right. Like on
Um
the PS1.
yeah, I think Crash 1, 2, and maybe 3 came out before the Xbox.
No, I'm pretty sure
Um,
they did, because
Yeah. 1,
3
2, 3.
was
Yeah.
98.
96. Yeah, 96, 97, 98.
Oh, okay, yeah, so they all beat the Xbox. So like he never really competed with Xbox, which is interesting. But
Yeah. The closest you could get is, I was gonna say maybe the remakes on the PS4, but that came to Xbox
Yeah.
anyways.
yeah. So like
I don't
I'm
know.
thinking like a lot of was it Sony does what Nintendo don't, and like things like that, and like Crash in the giant costume and everything. So
Yeah.
I think really in terms of selling PlayStations, he was good at it. I mean, the PlayStation
Oh, yeah.
obviously.
It is
Is
like you can't like it kind of bugs me like Naughty Dog as a studio, first of all, so important to Sony. So important. Like you think about this. We go from Crash Bandicoot 1996 to Uncharted in 2007
Mhm.
to The Last of Us in 2013.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
yeah.
Just
System
skipping over
sellers,
Jack and Daxter.
just system sellers back to
Like,
back.
like
Yeah.
Naughty Dog absolutely killed it. Totally killed it. And Crash is so important for the PlayStation in the early days. It was so important. Like,
I mean, here's
Yeah,
what I'm gonna
and
say. Just
you can.
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and you can take those other two games, Uncharted and The Last of Us, and say, yeah, those were very important for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4.
yeah, dude, they totally were. They totally were. And Jack and Daxter for the PS2, like,
Yeah.
dude, it's nuts. Like, Naughty Dog is so skilled. Like, they are an amazing studio.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like, what bugs me, and like, let me bring this back around to Smash and his exclusion from it.
Mhm.
Like, to me, it feels wrong that he's left out. Like something, like
yeah.
it feels like you have. I'm sorry, but like I'll put in terms of like cultural importance, I put Sonic and Crash at the exact same level. But
I
like
would
I enjoy
too.
one way more.
I would probably put Sonic slightly more. I would actually put Crash though above Pac-Man, which it probably sounds insane to my parents' generation.
Yeah,
Probably just
Sure.
absolutely insane.
sure.
But I think he's had more of a lasting impact. And think about it this way, okay? The PlayStation 1 and Crash working with Nintendo probably killed Sega doing consoles at all. The Sega Genesis was like their last console.
Yeah, it totally was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Crash contributed to that. That's an important thing.
Yeah.
Like he definitively, in terms of a numbers game,
Hey, he
beat
killed
Sonic
Sega.
that generation.
Hey, he killed Sega, and that's
Now-
what sucks. Like, how do you now exclude him? Like, besides the legal talks, like I know, but like you got Sora in there for crying out loud. Like,
yeah.
there is. Come on, like
Which he wasn't
Crash-
out, which we didn't know when this episode started.
that's
funny
true.
enough.
That's fair, but still, like, it still bugs the
no,
heck
we
out of
did.
me, though.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, because
Okay.
the last episode was about Sora.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Either way,
Yeah,
though,
no,
doesn't it
it's
just
just
feel
like-
wrong though?
It feels weird because I always feel weird, especially trying to like convince other people, hey, this person belongs in Smash for
Yeah, they're
these
like, who?
reasons.
They're like,
So
Because it's
devil's
like
advocate.
it's hard to like compare some characters that are in the game, like Pac-Man, like Rob, like Mario,
Mega Man, yeah.
like Mega Man, to like Sora, who's like, yeah, this guy's been around for almost 20 years. He deserves a spot. And they're like, oh yeah, Mario's been around since what, the 80s, the 90s?
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
And it's
Well,
like,
yeah.
oh, sorry. You got fucking Steve in there who's 10 years old at least.
Mhm.
that's the thing. Like, think
yeah,
about
I
the
don't know,
staples
it's
of all
like-
these franchises that are in there. Mario,
Yeah.
you just named them: Mario, Pac-Man, Sonic, Mega Man.
Mega
Yeah.
Man.
You're okay. It is a
It's
crime. It is a crime
super
Cosmo
weird.
is in the game in
Yeah.
Crash
Yes.
Bandicoot.
Fair enough.
Now I will say my hope for Smash in the future, and I hate we're going so into Smash, but I'm just gonna quickly say is that we keep everything from Ultimate. It's Ultimate Deluxe, and they just add Crash. I think it's crime. He's not in there. Master Chief, crime. He's not in there. Doom Guy, crime. He's not in there. And Ryu Hayabusa, who's Ninja Gaiden, crime. He's not in there. But I can actually kind of play devil's advocate and explain why. I think Crash was really hurt by the decline in
Sure.
his series in terms of overall impact to the point where like Lara Croft is about as significant as him, and like Nathan Drake I'd probably put a little under, but close.
Yeah. That's fair.
And so like if not for that dip, he would absolutely be in. And I
Yeah,
think he's on the rise again, so there's reason to
Oh,
hope.
he definitely is, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. Here's what I wanted to rattle off. Like, so this was the span from '96 to 2000. This is totally nuts. So '96 you have the original Crash Bandicoot. Then '97 you have Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortez Strikes Back. '98 you have Bandicoot Warped. Then in '99, I mean they're rattling these things off. '99 you have the original CTR,
Mm-hmm.
and then in 2000 you have Crash Bash. Like that is. Remember what I
The
didn't even
golden
know.
era.
I didn't even know they were in order, but I said what are the staples? I just named them. Like
Yeah.
those are those are the staples. And then in 2001, this is the original Crash 4 Wrath of Cortex, and it's really not very good. And then
Yeah.
now we're moving into PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360 with those Crash the Titans and Mind Over Mutant stuff. But man, like I don't know. I just think like from 1996 to 2000 was such a killer time. Like I don't think you can really undersell how important he was, man. Like,
Yeah.
especially to the PlayStation. Like, he's not a nothing.
Yeah.
It's,
Crash is not
uh,
nothing.
If
So what I'll
Nintendo
say
was,
is, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say if Nintendo was ambitious with getting people in Smash as they are today, back
Mhm.
then in like the early 2000s,
He would have been in.
yeah, I was gonna say
No
Crash
question.
would have been a shoe-in.
And
So
and
would
what I'll say
Sora.
too,
No, I'm kidding.
I think his problem was up until let's say 2016. He was a star that shined too bright too quick. And then faded. Now he's back on the mend, and I think he's got a good looking future. And I do think for a time he was better than Sonic, and he was a damn close competitor to Mario. I don't really think there's beating Mario, but if you can
No.
catch his coattails, that's a big deal. And he did.
Yeah,
He for sure did.
totally.
So
Yeah.
I mean I think he has a bright future, and I think that's something to consider.
Yeah. Okay. So usually for these episodes, we do a ranking vote. Did we want to do that? This has been kind of cut in half this episode.
Yeah.
I'd like to vote. I like to.
I
You wanna
exercise
vote?
democracy. I like to
Yeah.
exercise
Okay.
democracy.
Yeah.
I haven't touched this page in a while. Okay. I don't even remember how we do this.
Um,
For
While you're pulling that
player-
up, I do want to mention one last thing real quick. Like,
Yeah, go ahead.
there is a time period. Like, this is what I'm talking about. The Dark Age, 2002 to 2008. Okay, you had
And then-
short?
kind of. It's more like, I mean, there was a dead zone between like 2008 and 2017.
Oh, okay.
But like, here's
Yeah,
like your
it was
handheld
basically
stuff.
until 2008 was the bad games coming out. And then from
Yes.
2008 to 2017 were, okay, no games are coming out.
Yeah, and then now you're back on the map again. But like, all right, so like here are some of the handheld, and this is what I mean when I say like the majority of this stuff is garbage. Like it's just bad. Like here you go. Like this is all on the Game Boy Advance. Crash Bandicoot Huge Adventure, Crash Bandicoot Blast. That was like a TNT style Mario Party game. Like it was weird. And then you have Crash Bandicoot 2 Entranced, stupid thing. Nitro Kart on the handheld. This is all Game Boy Advance. And then Crash Bandicoot Purple Ripto's Rampage was a crossover with Spyro.
I
on the
remember
handheld.
that. Yeah, I remember
Then
watching
you
a
have
video on that.
in 2006 you have on the DS Crash Boom Bang, another party style game. And then on the Game Boy Advance and the DS you have Crash the Titans and the Mind Over Mutant. And then those obviously also released on 360. But like, dude, there is a just junk, total junk between 2001 and 2017. That's why I say it's so nuts that he made such an impact. Like, because majority of it, like just numbers wise, sucks.
Hey
Mhm.
guys,
Really
let's look at the bright side here. All of those games you just listed off, their cases will be recycled.
Yeah, seriously, ain't that the
Their
truth?
cases will be recycled and reused for, I don't know, Crash 4.
That'd be cool. That's nice. That's actually that does make me happy.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the like hundreds of thousands of copies of ET that are just buried in the desert. They realized they made such a bad game.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man.
So I guess I think I know how to do this for the rankings. For player 3, do we have an idea of who we're gonna vote for?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess 3, 2, 1.
Ryan?
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's fair, because guess what? We have talks where I don't know what the hell's going on. You don't know what the hell's going on. And that's that.
Sometimes
But
I
I
don't know
sure
what the hell's
talked
going
about.
on.
I sure talked a lot about what I didn't know was
That's
going
true.
on.
That is the truth. And we did, and you talked a lot about Smash, so that really says something.
Well, I'm kind of a negative Nancy in regards to this franchise, but I think I gave it more credit than I expected to going in.
No,
Don't
no.
worry.
You'll
I
like
talked
it
a
once
lot
you get
about
time
Kingdom
to
Hearts
start
2.
going through 2 and 3. Man, you're gonna have a good time. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
Okay, player 2. Okay, we ready?
Yes,
3, 2, 1.
John.
Okay.
Let's go.
I was raising
Alright.
my hand. Oh, do I
Finally a
not?
W around here.
There
For
we go.
crying out loud.
And then we're
You
all
get
in
one.
agreement.
I
We're
get
all in
one
agreement.
W.
Dylan's 1.
I got
Yep.
1 W per year. I'll see you guys in 2023 for my next W, talking about
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot 4. That'll be a good time.
Talking about Crash Bandicoot 5. Oh, actually,
Oh, that would
okay.
be cool.
E3 this year. What are the odds?
Oh, no way. Not another
What are
one.
the
No
odds?
chance. No chance. No
chance?
chance.
I don't
No
know.
chance.
With the whole
No chance.
Activision drama, I don't know.
No, no way. I wish.
I'll
but
give it.
no-
I'll give
no
it a
chance.
5%.
I was gonna say, if you want a number, I'll give you 5.
I'll give it 5 this year, 20 next year. How about that?
I'll give you
Okay.
5 and then 50.
5. Ooh, optimistic. Okay,
I
I
am.
like it.
But
Just
the
not, and obviously this would be just for reveal.
Yeah,
Seeing
yeah.
it at E3.
game probably next game's probably 24.
What about
Next game's probably 24.
what about
If
this?
they want to do it right.
I know we're discussing Crash here, but what about Spyro?
What about Smash? Spyro. I don't know, man. I never
played.
Yeah, I never got into it, but I think maybe I might, because you can buy the same thing, the same trilogy. Like,
Yeah,
I
the
forget what
original
it's
3.
called, but yeah, you can get all 3.
Reignited, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Reignited.
think I
that's
played
it.
a little bit of Spyro, and I think I
I don't
liked
mind
it
it.
a fair amount.
I don't mind. I don't know.
I completely beaten the first game and I really enjoyed it. I'm like a fourth the way through the second game and I haven't touched it in months.
Like,
I mean, I'm of the opinion that where it ended up in Skylanders is kind of poop, but 1, 2, and 3 are good.
Yeah,
like
pretty
the
much.
only last time I played it was I was like 5 years old, so like it's kind of a fever dream in a way. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like I could just see like weird shapes and colors. I don't remember it very well, but I don't know. Maybe I will
Mhm.
give it a try.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast.
Yes.
I know it's been
Yeah.
abnormal.
Yes.
Mhm.
Hey, these are trying times. These are trying times, John.
Yeah, Dumbledore is dead.
What? Dude, I
Dude,
didn't watch
you,
the
you can't be
movie.
doing that. You can't be doing that.
I'm sorry. What have I done?
Hey, next time we come back, we'll have all of Game of Thrones watched, and that's what we'll do next. We'll watch the entirety of Game of Thrones. That
Exactly.
garbage, overrated piece of. All right.
Bye.
Bye.